Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Good morning and thank you so much for being with us on UBC TV. Welcome to Good Morning Uganda Agenda. I'm Robert Chirabo Nyonyitono and we are here. We're usually with a guest or guests where we discuss issues of national concern. Now today we are going to be discussing issues regarding the National Cooperative Consultative Meeting and their annual general meeting. Now what happens is that we've talked about cooperatives for so long because it is one of the ways that our government is using to fight poverty. Talk about the parish development model, you find credit savings cooperatives. Talk about youth livelihood, still cooperatives are there. Talk about any form through which government is giving people money, they're using the cooperative model, where you form what you know as circles there in the village. And out of these, or through these, government channels money to people. Now, today in studios, I have Kayinza Justin, who happens to be the Public Relations Officer, Uganda Cooperative Alliance. If time allows, we shall also be having the big man, the General Secretary, Ivan Asimwe, Mr. Cooperative, join us on set. But for now, I'll be with the Public Relations. Welcome to the show. It's a pleasure having you. Usually in the background as things are moving. So today, here you are to explain them right.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chirabo, and a very good morning to our viewers. First of all, Mr. Chirabo, I would like to congratulate the Uganda Cranes, yes, upon that score of 2-0 against Congo. But on a side note, I would also like to pass on my condolences to the family of Dr. Mateke upon the demise of Honorable Sarah Mateke and to the entire Parliament of Uganda. So today I'm here speaking on behalf of Uganda Cooperative Alliance. Chirabo, as you've said, we are expected as cooperatives, UCA as an apex body, it's mandated that we hold the annual general meetings. During these annual general meetings, we are supposed to give accountability. The structure of cooperatives is that the annual general meeting is that top body. It comprises of all the members of a cooperative. But not everyone can do the day-to-day running of the cooperative movement. So the AGM, the annual general meeting, entrusts a board. They vote a board to run the affairs of the cooperative, of the society. And below the board, we have management. Now, management is like for the case of UCA, where you see the general secretary and the rest of the staff. So it's expected of us to give accountability every year. The law requires that cooperatives, apex bodies like UCA are supposed to hold annual general meetings and give accountability to the membership of what has transpired, what plans, and also get the views of the members of the movement. What are their expectations? Where they want to see the cooperative movement at such a given time. So it's on this note that Uganda Cooperative Alliance has organized a national consultative meeting, which is going to take place on 23rd, yes, at Silver Springs, Bugolobi. And then on the 24th, we are going to have the AGM, annual general meeting. So for the national consultative meeting, we are going to invite actually, because board sat on Friday, so we're supposed to have a board resolution. Yes, the board sat and they okayed the dates. And the theme, of course, we are moving under the theme. The theme of the year is cooperatives build a better future for all. So this whole year, all cooperative activities, that is our theme. In whatever we do, that is what is guiding us this year. So this annual general meeting is preceded by the national consultative meeting. And during this meeting, we call upon different stakeholders. We are going to send out invitations to the different stakeholders, inviting them also to account, but talk about topics that are of interest to the cooperative movement. We have, of course, issues like cooperative education, This is one of the items. It's a dream of cooperators that we see our education being elevated. Personally, I'm a student at Ndeje University. I study cooperatives and agribusiness management. But we want to see our traditional institutions like Chigumba, like Tororo, scaled up. We want to see them offering degrees, offering diplomas, so that we don't have maybe our students go to Kenya. After diploma in Chigumba, you have to go to the Kenya University of Cooperatives or to Mosh. So it's a dream of the cooperators. One of the other issues is, of course, the cooperative bank. This one, we have talked about it over and over, for affordable and accessible financing. So the cooperators still want to see this conversation move. We held the consultative meetings as a Uganda Cooperative Alliance in the different regions of the country, and the report we presented to the Minister of Cooperatives, Honorable Gume. So we, from during that national consultative meeting, such platforms that also we pass on the feedback to the cooperators, but otherwise government is positive on the cooperative bank. And personally, I believe in it because I really know that this the cooperative bank would understand, would appreciate the issues of the cooperators better. They would understand our seasons, for instance, and the interest on the money, on the loans we get, because this will be our own money as cooperators. We can decide and say, of course, we don't want to see it grow, but at the same time, want to see it being utilized. We also have to reflect on now, like Uganda Cooperative Alliance, one of our mandates, we look at capacity building. It's time now to give feedback to our cooperators. What have we done? How many of these consultations have we carried? How many of the trainings? How have we equipped our members? The partnerships we're supposed to represent.
So like you said, it's all about bringing accountability to the cooperators. Now, we've gone more into the AGM, the consultative meeting, slightly putting the cart before the horse. Yes. Now, for our viewer out there who is watching, when we talk about cooperatives, cooperators, they're asking, now, okay, there's going to be this consultative meeting, there's going to be this annual general meeting, but really, yes, I talked about them that what is more common to Ugandans is the circles. But to someone who is hearing about cooperatives for the first time, or who thought, because we must be real, who thought that these were and are never are, what do I mean? Many people, when talk about the cooperatives, they have this, that we once had them. Are they still even existing? You know?
Yes.
So let's try to paint a picture for this person to better understand that when you're talking about cooperatives, this is what we are talking about. And Mr. Cooperatives, having joined us, I think is the right person to begin with that.
Thank you so much, moderator. And good morning, our viewers. As usual, my name is Ivan Asimwe, the General Secretary of Uganda Cooperative Alliance. And as usual, I'm very happy, profoundly honored to be here, and so appreciative of the board and management of UBC. You have really given us the opportunity as Ugandans to learn and understand cooperatives, which was never there before. So first of all, back to your question. We need to understand what is a cooperative, the history of cooperatives, global and here. And basically, when you talk about a cooperative, without going into the real definition.
One for my viewer, please.
It means coming together for a purpose. Just coming together for a purpose, not being told to come so that you gain something. But coming together for a purpose. We are seated together in this room. Something attacks us like a wild cat, enters like this. Then moderator, you said, no, don't run away. Let's come together and fight this enemy. That's cooperation for a purpose. So meaning that a cooperative is defined as an autonomous association of persons united voluntarily to meet their social, economic, cultural needs and aspirations through a jointly owned and democratically controlled enterprise. You own it. You come voluntarily. You control it, you use it, you own it, and it benefits all of you. For example, we are coffee farmers. We understand our challenge is access to inputs, aggregation, value addition, and marketing. But our greatest enemy is the middleman, who comes, buys a different price from what he pays you. So we realize at the end of the day, for us as coffee farmers, why should we continue to struggle? How come that the middleman is making more money than us, the farmers? So based on that, we come together and say enough is enough. Let's control our coffee. That is a cooperative. But where someone says, Mr. Chirabo, Ivan, and Justin, you form and I give you, that is not built on a cooperative ideology.
Now, with that definition, I've seen people come together. I'll use an example in church where I'm deeply, at least, rooted and understand affairs, and they say, now, last year Christmas, how did you go through as a family? Oh, I struggled. So one suggests, but do you know why? Let's come together, form us democratically the elected leader, they elect their treasurer, they say we shall be depositing maybe every month. Each one of us deposits 300. By Christmas time, so on the 22nd, we converge, everyone gets a share. They'll have a lot of money, then they go through Christmas successfully. They have united for a reason, they're democratic in nature. So does that qualify to be a cooperative?
Very good. That is an association or a group. And you know, cooperatives also begin like that. Cooperatives is like a child and a mature person. The other one is in the process. Most of these cooperatives you see, they started like that, whereby you would come together for a certain purpose, but at the end you see far, and then you formalize your processes by registering that group as a cooperative with the registrar of cooperatives. Now the difference with the cooperative is that a cooperative, according to section 28 of the Cooperative Societies Act, it's a body corporate. Body corporate meaning that it has powers to borrow or lend, sue or be sued as an independent body. Secondly, a cooperative is an ongoing concern, as opposed to these groups that you are mentioning, whereby you collect money, end of the year, you buy rice, you buy meat, share, disband, then start afresh in January. There is no going concern. But for a cooperative, there is a going concern. It will be there forever. You have seen like these cooperatives in Uganda, which started in 1913, up to date. They are still there. Now, basically, moderator, we need to go back and see how did these cooperatives begin globally. On the 14th of March 1761, as weavers are seated in a room working, one of them brings a suggestion that you people, working individually is not taking us anywhere, because there's a saying that you want to move very fast, move alone. If you want to move far, move as a team.
Yes.
So they realized that and said, no, as weavers, let's come together, form our cooperative. That is the first cooperative society, but of informal nature. It was not registered because nobody knew about this. In 1844 in Rochdale, still the weavers realized, because the work of weaving is so hectic that you can't do it alone. It's a whole process. So 1844, they also realized that no, we need to form a cooperative. That's the first one that is of formal nature, registered. Then in 1913, here in Uganda, farmers having realized the level of exploitation by the middlemen of Asian origin. You could imagine you are a coffee farmer or you grow your maize and whichever, take it to the shop of a middleman. The middleman would just tell you, Hangalia hapa. As you are looking up, presses the knee below the sacks. If it was weighing 80 kilos, the man tells you 40. If you were clever enough and said, no, but look here, just I weighed him, though I didn't have a weighing scale. At least I can lift and see this is 80. The man would say, you know what? Take your coffee, take your maize, never come back to my store. So because of that exploitation, farmers said enough is enough. 4 farmers led the revolution. And the revolution led to the formation of China Korea, the first cooperative society. And to date, we have over 45,000 registered cooperative societies. If I can tell you about circles, in the 19th century, 1850, they begin in Europe. Why? Because most of the farmers realized they needed access to finance. Then in 1950s, here in Africa, a Catholic priest called Father John in Ghana, he was from Ireland, but he had gone to study in Canada. So in Canada, he saw how the saving schemes were working. Then he came here in Africa, in Ghana, and then he started the saving schemes. And to date, you see we have circles across the country.
Yes.
In 1990s there, Uganda Cooperative Alliance, with the support of government and UNDP, they started a model of village bank. This village bank model is working very well in Asia.
Yes.
Especially in Korea, the
South
MGs.
Korea,
The MGs in Korea. Then Bangladesh, Malaysia and others. So when you see studies this model, they come here in 1990s. But the circles had been formed before, especially during the time of financial crisis in 1970s. But they were not really strong. So UCA, with support of government and UNDP, we support communities, and they formed village banks. And village banks later became savings and credit cooperative organizations. Now, when we talk about cooperatives here, we mean very many types and forms. Because you have asked that, whenever you talk about cooperatives, people think of coffee, cotton, like that.
And many will say the old and
yes.
good days of the cooperative
And
movement.
to some extent they are right, because cooperatives were started by farmers. Like I've mentioned,
Yes.
the weavers,
Yes.
1761 in Scotland, 1844 in Rochester. Here in Uganda, 1913, they were started by farmers. So, but eventually, the world has changed. Everybody wants to associate with others. Everybody wants to cooperate. So in Uganda, farmers cooperate through their agricultural cooperatives and production and marketing cooperatives. We cooperate to form circles, savings and credit cooperative organizations. The viewers, some people ask, is a SACCO a cooperative? Yes, a SACCO is a financial cooperative, and the name SACCO means savings and credit cooperative organization. We have energy cooperatives, health cooperatives, transport cooperatives, or name them. There are so many, over 45,000. Now, when you talk about the forms mean the levels. When individuals come together, the way we are, a minimum of 30 people, we form a primary cooperative society. When you bring primary cooperative societies together, you form a secondary. Like Banyankole Kweterana is a secondary because the members are primary societies. When you bring secondaries together, they form a tertiary. Like Uganda Cooperative Transport Union, Uganda Central Cooperative Financial Services. Ukusku is a secondary union because the members are circles who are primary societies. When you bring the secondaries and the tertiaries together, you form Uganda Cooperative Alliance, established on the 17th of June, 1961.
Now, having given us that rich background and in-depth definition of what cooperatives are, I want to look at the current status. Of course, Ivan has seated on it, painting a picture, but I want to come back to you, Justin. When we talk about the cooperative movement today, what is the status of this movement? So that many that think that, well, maybe cooperatives are no longer as strong, or they're no longer in that much existence, can have a bigger and a broader picture.
Yes. Chirabo, like the General Secretary has said, cooperatives currently from the Ministry of Trade, as per April, Trade Industry and Cooperatives, had 45,000 registered cooperatives of different kinds. he mentioned some, when you go to the law section 55, they mentioned the different kinds, the housing, the transport, agriculture, you know, our country is being predominantly agriculture, so we find those. And of late, we have the parish development models, the EMIOGA, so those have also led to an increment. But this is a phenomenon that is being adopted by Ugandans in most parts of this country. We see they begin as village saving groups, and eventually they are registered with the commercial officer at district and then the register of cooperatives eventually at the ministry. So we are seeing that cooperatives is the way to go, working together. So we've seen that Ugandans have adopted this model to pull resources together to address their particular needs. As we've been told, people form a cooperative where they have a common problem, they have a common issue that they want to address. For instance, if maybe they are dairy farmers, the price of milk might not be favorable. They come together, or they want to get market. So we have seen that and it's global, it's a global movement. Countries that have evolved, countries that have really grown economically, they began using this cooperative model. General Secretary usually gives the examples of Spain, Malaysia, all these have that background of cooperative. So we see it is a phenomenon that Uganda is adopting, and as Uganda Cooperative Alliance, we come in to build that mandate to guide on how they should operate. Of course, we know some have issues. Uganda Cooperative Alliance carried out a capacity needs assessment, and during the AGM, now this is part of the accountability, we realized there are issues, especially issues in accountability, issues in governance, and so this is the role of Uganda Cooperative Alliance. We come here on the principle of education, training, and information. We are supposed to enlighten the movement. We are the voice of the cooperative movement in the country. Yes, it's a legal mandate. We do arbitration. If there are issues, Section 73 of the Corporate Societies Act, we are supposed to come in and ensure that we move together as a movement. We don't want differences that will make the movement fall apart. So that's why UCA is mandated under Section 73 of the Corporate Societies Act to come in and ensure that the movement is one. So that's why at the end of, after a year, in a year, we're supposed to meet and give accountability, talk to our cooperators, talk to our partners, because there are those partners also who have a break into the movement, and, you know, reach out to the Ugandans out there. So we really encourage Ugandans to keep on. As Uganda Cooperative Alliance, we shall continue engaging in building capacities, in sensitization, and being the voice, because Uganda Cooperative Alliance is mandated also to be that legal voice of the cooperative movement.
Now, Justin, you've painted the General Secretary, we've painted a rosy picture. They are growing in number every day. The movement is strong. We have Uganda Cooperative Alliance. But I'm also interested in the hardcore in this movement. Because most of the times, I'll take the circles, the credit savings organizations now. Many start, but I want to tell you, I don't know if people are still chewing books. If you wake up and see how many have been registered, and after a year, you ask yourself how many are still standing. Yeah, I know of one who kidnapped himself as they were approaching their annual general meeting, because they have gotten the principles right, but the person was kidnapped during the night, only to return after it had come to an end, because of matters of accountability. Then also, I know many that are cooperatives. Allow me use this. Yes. Because Ivan said those that are told, form a cooperative and you get money. That is not a principle of a cooperative. So let's look at those challenges, the outstanding challenges to the cooperative movement in Uganda.
Maybe, moderator, before she comes in, you asked a very important question, that where are we as cooperatives?
Yes.
I want to inform Ugandans that we are really doing better than before. You know, when you read the history of cooperatives in this country, you'll actually discover that in 1960s, cooperatives were very strong in this country.
And owned a lot of property.
Yes.
A lot of property.
To the extent that cooperatives owned 14 ginneries and 7 coffee churning works by 1965. Cooperatives owned 325,311,500 Uganda shillings. That was the net worth for cooperatives only in crop, coffee, cotton. In 1961, they established Uganda Cooperative Alliance as the apex body. 1963, government realizes the cooperative movement was very strong because cooperative education had started at Insami's in 1954. 63, government establishes a cooperative college at Bukarasa that later went to Chigumba in 1974. In 1964, they formed the Cooperative Bank Limited. Without external borrowing, using their own money, they established a bank, the Cooperative Bank, 1964. You can imagine.
Early days of independence.
They owned 100% monopoly to Guinea cotton. They controlled 90% and 60% of Arabic and Robusta coffee. Do you know we are now controlling less than 3%?
So the entire economy was in the hands of cooperatives?
The entire economy was in the hands of Ugandans, in the hands of cooperatives. Because once you empower cooperatives, then you are empowering the citizenry. That is what Europe has done. When you see Europe, America, Asia moving, it's because they understand the model of cooperation. You can imagine in France, we have the largest financial cooperative in the world, followed by another one. Still, both of them are in France. You go to Germany, talk about energy cooperatives, very strong. You go to Poland, Norway, whichever. You go to South Korea. Now, South Korea is leading in agriculture in terms of cooperatives. The largest supermarket in Seoul, capital city of Korea, is owned by cooperatives. With the banks, with the companies, with everything. Meaning that cooperatives strengthen the economy. And you bring the economy in the hands of the owners, who are the citizens.
Because these are their businesses.
This is their business.
Yes.
They control their produce from
their
production up to the market.
They're the ones exporting.
So, eventually, we all know what happened, especially the political turmoil that destroyed the cooperatives. Now, we are so grateful with the government, the current government, whereby the government, having realized the cooperative model, you see the support that they are giving to Ugandans through the parish development model, Emyoga, the circles, these village banks, like I've mentioned, in the 1990s, where government and Uganda Cooperative Alliance were implementing the village bank model that later formed the circles, the revival of these unions, the compensation of unions, because unions lost a lot of their assets during the wars. And during a war, you don't have control. You don't know who steals what. So eventually, government comes in, picks the pieces, and we are here today. And before then, you could not even talk about cooperatives. I remember when I got a job in a SACCO, 15th of March 2003, my OBs and OGs would call me, where are you? I would say, I'm working in a SACCO. What is a SACCO? Ivan, we knew you as an intelligent man. Did you fail to the extent that you go to the village and work in a SACCO? Nobody understood the SACCO. But to date, we have people with masters, CPAs, SCCAs, working in the SACCOs. So SACCOs have moved to that extent of employing qualified and competent people. Talk about the professionals. You could not sit here and talk of a SACCO, for example, to the army. The army could not understand. Until you see us working with the government, they supported the army and formed the Wazalendo SACCO. Now you asked, where are we? Wazalendo SACCO now is bigger than a commercial bank. Some of the commercial banks. It has hit $1 trillion in terms of portfolio. Talk about Exodus for police. Parliamentarian SACCO here, just next to us. Talk about the accountant SACCO, ICPAU SACCO. There are so many, electoral commission, prisons, there are so many. You go to rural areas, talk of Ebirungi, Biryomututu, Moyo SACCO. They are so big. Talk about these agricultural cooperative unions. A union like Ankole Coffee Producers Cooperative Union exports over 200 containers of coffee to Europe. talk about Chibinge. I know you are darling.
Yes, yes.
And I want to thank them. You know, they are the people who hosted us during the national, the International Cooperative Day.
Yeah.
I hope so.
On the 20th of July, they hosted us.
Regards to Soweto.
It's very big. They're exporting
Actually,
coffee.
one of the things I liked about cooperative movement, dear viewer, most so the agricultural cooperatives, Chibinge is a cooperative that deals in coffee.
Yes, true.
Basically now, these people, when they sell coffee outside Uganda, there is some money they are given. And it's a lot of money, by the way.
Yes.
I think it's called premium or something.
Premium, yes.
Now, they use that money to develop their community. Now, one time I went there, they had a very horrific road. They told me, no, premium, we are going to work on this road. The next time I went to visit Soweto in Chibinge, the road was worked on.
Wow.
And I was like, but where did you get this money? They said, no. When we sell our coffee, I asked them, that this is supposed to be your money. Said, no, it is fair trade. Some of these terms, fair trade. Now under fair trade, when you export, then you get some free money. I was like, who is giving free money to a tune of over 300 million? But it is something that I learned happens. And so
You see, that is the beauty with the cooperatives. Because the wealth comes back to the community.
through the community.
But capitalism, the wealth goes to an individual. And that is why the colonialists promote capitalism. Because you continue being slaves all through. Because you'll be working for them indirectly when you are not aware. You grow coffee here, sell a kilogram at 10,000, they take it to the other side, process, get Nescafe, export it back, and you buy a kilogram at 200,000. It means they are making more money than you Ugandans as farmers. So the only liberator is you coming together in a cooperative, control your coffee, the entire value chain. Now that money which would have gone to an individual in the name of a capitalist or a middleman, the money now comes back to the community and it is called the premium. And you have given a very good example. You go to Chibinge, when you are supplying to fair trade, then that money, because there are 3 payments, there is the first payment, which is farm gate. They take your coffee, they pay you at the farm gate price. When they take it to the other side and they are able to make a margin, they come back, calculate the margin and pay you. Then at the end of the year, fair trade computes and says, thank you for supplying us with the coffee. We are giving you back kasimo or an appreciation. That appreciation ideally now goes down to the farmers and it is called premium. Otherwise, this money would have gone to the middleman. That is why a middleman is richer than a farmer, because the middleman makes more money than the farmer. In order to liberate yourselves as farmers, you need to come together and form cooperatives. And not only farmers, everybody who has the brains, everybody who was created by God, and you can really see that there is a challenge, you can see there is an opportunity, it is better to mobilize your skills, your knowledge, your resources together. For example, we accountants. One day I was at Hotel Africana during our CPD. And then I asked accountants, we are not poor people. We were never trained to be poor. So how come that we are poor? Everybody says, no, Ivan, we are not poor, we have money. I said the word poor does not mean that you don't have money. The word poor means passing on opportunities repeatedly. And the example I gave them is that all accountants, and you having accounts in the banks, 100%,
Yes.
everybody had an account. The question was, who has ever been invited to attend an AGM of this bank?
None.
None. Who has ever gotten a dividend from these banks? None. So we are poor. How do we liberate ourselves? We need to start, register a circle. Our vision is own a bank. Because we studied. You studied CPA, SCCA, these are very hard courses. But you remain a slave and you claim to be a professional accountant. So this is what we need to do. I want to challenge the media. You are so many in this country. I will not sleep until I see the media fraternity own your own facilities and making money as media people, not just speaking very good English. What I've seen in Africa, the education system in Africa does not train Africans to think, but rather to remember. Who discovered Lake Victoria? Who discovered Mount Rwenzori? Yet people were there. People were there already. But it is the Muzungu who discovered as if Africans were blind. We had eyes, we were seeing. So why would you be trained to remember such a thing?
That, yes.
Why don't you think that actually me as a graduate, on top of speaking English, I can actually make money, use my knowledge, the skills, and make money? This is where we are.
That is where we are, looking at the current status of the cooperative movement in Uganda. Now we go to the challenges briefly, because yes, it's given us a more deeper view of what we are currently. So what are those outstanding challenges, Justin, to this movement currently?
Yes, some of the outstanding challenges, one is the issue of governance in some of our cooperatives. And this is a big one, because it takes us back to the administration of these cooperatives. As I told you before, in cooperatives, we have our structures, the annual general meeting, we come to the board, we have the supervisory committee, we have management. So at times we get challenges with the roles. Each of these categories is supposed to play their own roles, but of course in the cooperative setting. So you find at times we have issues maybe with board interfering with management, some members not knowing their roles, especially when it comes to issues of accountability.
You just reminded me of an annual meeting I was in, and someone said, kino chintu chaffe mwabakizemu temujja kitulemesa.
Now that's patriotism. I mean
it is
founder.
We are the founder members.
The founder member syndrome.
Don't let us zunguzunguza more. This is, it was a couple I want to mention.
Okay.
But said this is, he felt they owned.
Yes, they
and
own.
for us who had come, yet we all have equal rights. Now, when you talk about issues of governance.
Now, that is a serious, in fact, some of the traditional cooperatives, that founder-member syndrome also eats into them. And yet, of late, we want to see these cooperatives integrate the youth, the women. We are going into even the digital era. We want to see the young people bring these ideas on board. You're talking about marketing. This time we are marketing our products online. So if we have the old people only in these cooperatives, it's really a challenge. So we call upon our cooperative leaders, our founders of these cooperatives, the sponsors, to open it up to the young generation, because we want to interest our young people into this, because they come on board with new ideas. We are in a digital era. These days, people, you order things online, you're searching for market online. So we want to see those brought on board. We want to see the women also brought on board. So that's actually one of the challenges. But as you see,
issues of governance.
Issues of governance, yes. Then finance also, access to finance is one of the challenges in some of our cooperatives. Some of them which are agriculture in nature, the seasons, when it comes to getting the inputs, the costs are high. And that's why the cooperators dream of a cooperative bank, of re-establishment of the cooperative bank, to help address the issues of finance, access to finance. So partly these are some of the glaring ones that I can quickly think of in the cooperative movement.
Maybe in addition, there is the issue of cooperative education. Ugandans' cooperative education here started in 1954 at Isams. In Kenya, it started in 1967, the Cooperative College of Kenya. Tanzania, Moshi, started on the 5th of January 1963. But as we speak today, Moshi, they have now gone as far as PhDs in the cooperatives. Then Uganda, that started earlier in 1954, we are still at the diploma and certificate level in the two cooperative colleges. That is Chigumba and Tororo. So, but we are engaging government, and I'm very happy government is very positive, that we really needed to upgrade these two colleges into universities, or we have programs up to PhD level. Number two, so that's a challenge. Number two, She has talked about access to finance. Yes, we know that we are very fast working on the establishment of the cooperative bank. But before then, we have a challenge of access to affordable and appropriate finance. Another one is the legal. We have a legal lacuna, especially on SACCOs, whereby in 2003, the central bank amended the MDI Act in order to regulate and supervise bigger SACCOs, like Wazalenda and others. 2016, the government enacted a law, the Tier 4 Microfinance Institutions and Money Lenders Act, that says that all SACCOs should be licensed, supervised and regulated by Uganda Microfinance Regulatory Authority. And then in 2020, the Cooperative Societies Act was amended and requires all SACCOs to be under the supervision of the Registry of Cooperatives. So meaning that we have 3 laws and 3 regulators, which ideally becomes a confusion.
Well, just to let our viewers know that we shall also be moving to follow prayers of the late Sarah Mateke at All Saints Cathedral. Anytime from now, we'll be heading there where there are prayers to pray for the late. Yes, yesterday we had at Parliament, and today we are having the official prayers for her. Well, anytime since we'll be moving there. Now, allow me in the interest of time, in case we have to connect immediately, let's just have your final messages regarding that consultative in a brief so that you can head there.
Sorry, so as cooperators, we also send our condolences to the government and to the family of the late Honorable Minister who died. So, based on the challenges that we have as a country, we have planned to have the National Cooperative Consultative meeting that will take place on the 24th of this month, September 2024, and it will take place at Silver Springs Hotel Bugorobi, and we shall be discussing all these challenges that we have mentioned plus others, and then come up with a position paper and guide the government, because as UCA Section 29 of the Societies Act clearly stipulates that the board of UCA shall engage government on policy matters relating to cooperatives. And then on the 25th of September this month, 2024, we shall have the annual general meeting of all cooperators in the country, still at Silver Springs Hotel Gorobi. And we want to call upon all cooperators, please let's join in the discussion of the National Cooperative Consultative meeting, and also as members, unions, SCEs, we attend the annual general meeting.
Well, time is not allowing. I have to go to All Saints Cathedral right now, where we are having prayers for the late Sarah Mateke, Minister of State for Defense. Let's head there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
How about yesterday or last week? We must take care of this body of ours. You gave me a good house where I have steps every morning. I have to 10 times, 20 times in order to keep this size of Uganda cranes or arsenal. Uganda cranes oil. General Jim is saying, money. Oh, Bambi. The speaker is about Liverpool. That's fine. Liverpool. One time Liverpool was loserpool, but now they are doing well. But we must really take care of our bodies. Exercise.